this is completely asinine to me. Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA. We're sitting here before the show and we're trying to think of all the people, all the demographics, all the identities that are going to be hurt by Trump. And then I stumbled onto this story from earlier today. The Scott Pruitt, he doesn't believe that carbon dioxide is a major contributor to global warming. And this is the guy who's over the Environmental Protection Agency. He said, quote, "I think that measuring with precision human activity on the climate is something very challenging to do, and there's tremendous disagreement about the degree of impact. So no, I would not agree that it's a primary contributor to the global warming that we see." I mean, I have to put in the midst of all of the people that are going to be hurt by Donald Trump, I think the environment is the top of the list I mean, we're getting ready to go beyond the pale with the guy who's charged with protecting the environment now being a climate denier, just completely dismissing the scientific community in the middle of, I think I saw 11,000 record temperatures were set in February of heat, of high temperatures being set in 1 month. Last month, 11,000. And in the midst of that, those are all individual data points, right? So, we'll have to let somebody run the analysis to see what it actually means. But in the midst of this record heat, we have a guy who says that, he doesn't feel like carbon dioxide contributes to global warming. What's your take?
Let's send him to China, Beijing. Let's leave him there with no mask on for about a month and a half. And I tell them to come back and let me know how that asthma feels. I mean,
that's it.
At the end of the day, this is not about him denying climate. If they were to accept climate, then they would lose money. A lot of this stuff ends up being an economic issue. So if we quit using fossil fuels because we know that they're harming the environment, then there are a lot of people who are going to lose a lot of money.
Yep.
They want to use all the fossil fuels up first. And then once they get done with that, then they'll switch over to alternative energy sources. And they'll be in a great position to make money doing so because they'll have made all the money off the fossil fuels. Yep. So this, to me, this is a financial situation. They figured, look, I'm going to be dead. And you know what? I'm just going to put that on my great-grandkids. They got to live with it. I won't be here to see the true effect of what global warming is going to do. And since I don't know my great-great-grandchildren, I'm good with that.
Right.
So you don't have any emotional so that they can buy oxygen masks while these other people suffer through what's happening. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. My mom had a 12th grade education, but she was heavy. She had a PhD in common sense. You can see the seasons not changing right anymore. I'm from Michigan. And being in Michigan, it snow and it get cold. I'm sorry, when it has more snow in Boston than it has in Michigan over the course of the last couple of years, there is a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know how people don't see that.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you guys have more snow than we have been.
Dude,
and we
barely
pride
have any.
ourselves on the number of ski resorts that we have.
Listen, it's clearly a change. Like, I've been here for 4 years, and normally before we got here, they said it would start snowing. You can see snow in November. You definitely see snow in December. You don't see that anymore, right? And of course we're using anecdotes, but anecdotes are individual observations that eventually add up to either a trend or not a trend, right? So we're okay with using anecdotes. It doesn't snow here regularly like it used to, right? But then also it's like spring is around the corner now, like not in terms of what we expect, but like literally we had 60 degrees today. Last month February, we had 70-degree days. But besides that, here's what I want to point out about Pruitt. Pruitt knows that he has nothing to lose politically by taking this position, because all of the people who support Trump, all the people who support Republicans and the GOP, they believe this same idiocy. There's a poll, I believe this is the New York Times, and the question is whether or not climate change is occurring. 18% of Republicans believe that it's occurring. 18%. 18% of Republicans believe it's occurring compared to 68% of Democrats. Now, I would expect more Democrats to actually believe in the science, but I mean, 68 is far better than 18%. In terms of the causes of climate change, only 11% of in terms of should we have a role in politics. Actually, I'm reading that one wrong. Let me skip to this next one. Here's the next question. Almost all climate scientists agree that human behavior is mostly responsible for climate change. From that question, only 13% of Republicans believe that we have a contributing factor to climate change. And surprisingly, only 55% of Democrats believe it. But again, there's a great distance between 13% and 55%. I mean, Scott Pruitt has nothing to lose. I mean, he's not an elected official, so of course he doesn't have anything to lose. But in terms of being baggage for Donald Trump, he's not going to weigh Donald Trump down electorally because their base they don't believe in science either.
Well, it's a job creator, Ben. At the end of the day, you have to realize that people in this country are hurting, and where you have said that the environment will be hurt just as much as poor people, the middle class, and other folks during this Trump presidency. Many of these folks don't care; they just need a job. And so let's open up that old coal mine so people can go back in here and get black lung disease. So that they can have a livable wage and live okay. I mean, I think it's an oxymoron, but for some people, the work means more than the actual science, because at the end of the day, all they want to do is work.
Make that money.
What they say is all these Democrats ain't nothing but a bunch of tree huggers. Because what happens sometimes is that you know that the extreme left can be extreme.
Yeah, I know. We
can be extreme. We don't know how to work together anymore. So while I pray that I don't hurt the feelings of somebody who really truly believes that, you know, every tree needs to be saved, I think some of them jokers need to be cut down because they dead. I believe that. So you have to realize that, you know, some things just have to go for the way of progress or some things like that. But we don't have that middle ground anymore. We play to the extremes, man. I'm almost reminded of a Billy Joel song. I don't know why I go to extremes, too high or too low. It ain't no in between. I just don't get it. I just understand that we as progressives have to realize that we can no longer just be so far off that we can't come in and do the work anymore of governing. Politics is the art of compromise. I mean, if you can come up with any other definition that you want to, but in reality, it is the art of compromise. And I'm going to tell you something. Donald Trump knows that. So he's trying to figure out right now, how can he compromise enough to get the 50 votes he needs in the Senate? Because he already believes he's going to get the House, so that they can repeal and replace Obamacare. Forget the 10 million people who won't be able to have access to affordable health care. Forget all of what the doctors and everybody else is saying. Forget what the Congressional Budget Office, who hasn't even put a number on it.
Hang on one second for me.
This is how you know he ain't a conservative.
Well, before you go to Obamacare, because we're going to talk about the repeal and replace next, but I want to double back and I want to read this data before we finish this conversation. The question was, do climate scientists understand? They're asking the electorate. Climate scientists understand very well whether climate change is occurring. 18% of the people, they're not making a statement about their personal belief. They're making a statement about whether they think scientists know what the hell is going on. 18% of Republicans believe that scientists understand climate change and understand the causes of climate change. Only 11% believe that scientists understand the causes of climate change. So not only is it a statement against the environment, but it's really a statement against science. It's a statement against it's the fake news, alternative facts phenomenon is evident here. I'm not going to say it's seeping into it, because that probably started here. The rejection of science and the rejection of information and data started probably right here, because all of the data says we're screwing up the environment. And so they have to reject science. They have to reject data.
Science don't put food on the table.
Well,
when
and
you
that's for
got
scientists,
people
but
who are
yeah.
after their basic needs getting met,
Yeah.
we will go against our own self-interest. Remember, self-preservation is the first law of nature, and people want to eat. And if that means I gotta pollute the climate and kill my great-great-grandchildren, be it as it may, because I need to eat today without doing something illegal or immoral. And that's why I know that it makes no sense, but from a psychological standpoint, hurting people do what they think they need to do. And that's why they won't believe the science, because the science changes up their whole way of thinking and living.